It's a sunny day in Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, Alberta, and you're looking at the Suncor Community Leisure Center at McDonald Island Park. I think after all week I'd get that right once, but here we are at the new Holland Canadian U21 Championships. We started off with 36 teams and we're down to our final 10. We're in playoff action here. Our feature sheet today is going to be Nova Scotia 2, Cassidy Blades versus Quebec's Julien Fortin. I'm Brian Chick, and I'm here with Jeff Reich, and we're into the home stretch here.
Absolutely. It's do or die for all these teams now.
So, to start us off, getting right underway, it's Anna McNutt from Team Nova Scotia 2. These two teams did have to draw to the button to see who got hammered today because they actually have the same record, but in different pools. So there was no head-to-head decider. They had to draw to the button, and Quebec threw the better draw.
Well, Nova Scotia wants to play, putting up that center guard tight to the house.
Both teams entered this with 6-2 records. For Nova Scotia 2, that was good enough for third place in the B pool, and 6-2 was good enough for second place in the A pool. So it really just came down to who beat who, and in the I believe in the B pool it was generally decided by the last shot draw results, because everybody was at 6-2, and then they had to go to the shootout scores. With guard in play, Megan Fortin looking for the come around.
Beautiful shot there, right to the top of the forefoot.
Like you said, they came to play today already. More rocks in play than we've seen in most of the first ends combined.
Yeah, they usually try to keep it fairly open, but they're deciding to go after it early, which is always great to see.
It's more fun to talk about anyway.
Exactly.
This game is essentially a quarterfinal. It's a qualification game to get into the semifinal. Right now, the winner of this will take on Ontario's Julia Markle. While there's another 2-3 game going on sheet A, the winner of that will take on another Nova Scotia team in Ally McNutt. It's not a true quarterfinal, though, because there's only 2 of them.
Very true.
And for the first time all week, we've got men's actions happening at the same time as women's. Those are the men's semifinals. They've already played their qualification games, so we've got 4 sheets in action here today. Megan Fortin.
That's a very nice shot.
Nice little come around tap.
Exposes that yellow rock of Nova Scotia's.
And this was a 15-2 for guarding.
Cassidy Blades calling for the tight guard. Trying to protect her single at this point. It may be a little bit early for that.
Yep.
Kate Weissent, sorry.
Certainly got to get that over the hog line. Looks like they got her there.
We've been talking about all week how difficult it is to throw a good guard.
Absolutely. Well, I got to commend the curlers here to be able to do that. When they do that, that's a very fine shot.
There's so much curl when you throw the soft weight that as it's coming to a stop, it's basically going sideways.
Absolutely.
So trying to get it to run out of steam on the right path is actually way more difficult than it looks.
Yeah, that guard is guarding that shot rock, but unfortunately it's such a high guard that you can get around there with some just nice easy weight. I think they're calling backline to hack weight, I think.
Megan LaFrance looking for that little, probably a hack weight come around.
Yeah, looks to be hack weightish.
And with that softer weight, it will walk right over.
Yeah.
And here it comes.
Yeah. That's a very fine shot. Probably would have loved to a little bit more weight, but still laying 2 now. Forcing Nova Scotia to run back their yellow center guard.
Yeah, that was danger of throwing that guard so soon where if it's not perfect, and that one was just a little too high, as you mentioned, there's a lot of room to come around it, make a play, and now Nova Scotia 2 is chasing already and don't have the hammer. Kate Weissent looking for a short run back somewhere near the nose.
Oh. Very nice shot.
All things considered, that's pretty good.
Yeah, probably could have swept it a little bit early. It was a little bit late on the sweep, it looks like. I think they would have wanted to hit that more right on the nose.
Yeah, just overcurled by a sliver,
yeah.
but overall pretty good.
Yep. Forcing to Quebec to come around that guard. Come into the 4-foot. It's looking good. Certainly got the room around the guard you want.
Line looks perfect, and the weight looks pretty good too.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah, you mentioned something there. You have to clear the guards by a substantial amount.
Absolutely.
The way these finish, if you get too close, it'll actually poke out the other side and won't be buried at all. So you almost want to miss the guard by a good foot or more.
Absolutely.
To get because of that late finish.
Opportunity for Nova Scotia here to make the double and sit buried. It's a danger of coming just a little bit too deep on Quebec's stone.
Stephanie Atherton trying to take it on, and it's just a bit thick.
Yeah.
And that could open the door for Quebec to sneak another one in there and really turn the screws a little bit.
Yeah. Throw a nice easy hit here and hit and roll behind. Then what does Nova Scotia do?
Amy LaFrance. Looks like a little heavy, a little wide.
No. Oh. Got away with it.
Yeah, not the worst result considering the inaccuracy on that toss, but that one is still absolutely buried, and
yeah, it's tough to tell whose shot or second shot there, but now Nova Scotia really needs to come down and freeze on that stone on the button there.
Atherton with her second. Looking for basically at least a corner freeze on the top of the 4-foot.
Yeah. Definitely have to go for weight, I think.
2-3 is not what you want to hear at this point.
No. Trying to get a little chip off there so that they can got something to work with.
I don't think
not the end of the world.
And
but,
the weight wasn't that bad. If they sneaked that by, it probably would have been top 8 anyway. But just not the weight they were looking for. And you will see Quebec try to just sink another one in there, make them chase. We always say, if you make the easy ones, make them throw the hard ones. I like our chances.
Absolutely.
So just a nice come around here. Draw for Emilie France.
Calling it a little heavy. She's got backing, but
back 4 is not bad if the line's good. Look at a little chisel, a little chip here. And all things considered, not too terrible.
Not too bad.
Good job by Quebec there to kind of call plan B, but, the audible halfway down. They knew it wasn't going to be the perfect freeze, so they tried to sweep a little bit for line to go around it, so as not to set up an easy double. I think that was mission accomplished.
Well, Cassidy's looking to do a run back here. This certainly is an option. The other option you could look at doing is just do a straight draw, and if you could draw exactly where Quebec did, and you can get to the button, this might, if they don't make this, could open up a big end.
Yeah, this is not the shot you want to be throwing in the first end, but
no.
I agree with you. I think that out-turn draw, either right up to the button stone or that one on the edge of the forefoot, either way, you're making that scoring area pretty small and decreasing the likelihood of a deuce or a bigger end.
Yeah.
Cassidy Blades with her first in the first end, looking for a short run back.
Needs to get some curl on this.
A little too thin and right over the top of everything.
Yeah.
Mais je pense que right to it, même si j'attends. Je vais pas ça dans la deux.
Good call. Come.
Je sais pas si je viens de venir là. Je suis de même. Ça joue. Tu peux garder aussi. Ah, mais tu fais ça. Tu peux faire ben oui. Elle a fait quoi?
How's your French?
Not very good. I think they were really just sort of, they're deciding where do they want that rock to stop. They will have seen this in practice. See, a lot of them were practicing with the broom held right at the edge of the 8-foot.
That's kind of been the draw to the button line most of the week. Just edge of 8 or a little bit outside of that. You don't want to flirt too much with that yellow guard, so it's, I think the perfect spot here is biting the top of the 4, maybe frozen if you can get right to the nose of that red, but your tolerance here, shorter is always better. If you're going to miss light and at least be in the way.
Yep, agreed. But this is when you really want to put the pressure on them for sure.
Jolien Fortin with her first in the first end. Looking to sit potentially 3.
Looking good. Weight-wise.
Line looks really good.
Oh, very nicely done.
Right to the button, little tap. And that really
puts the pressure on,
Yeah, Nova Scotia 2 is a little uncomfortable at the moment given the current setup.
Yeah, I think sounds like they're talking about how to get rid of those other ones and possibly concede 2 or 3. Unless you can get the hit and roll right behind those 2 that are on the button and in front of the button.
I think if you do this just right, you can roll to get a piece of the back of the button.
Yeah, you
might be able to shrink that scoring area. That'll make it difficult.
Oh.
Andrew Atherton, coach, steps out to call a quick interaction.
Like 12, little roll in. Yeah. I just don't like if you hit and roll away. 12. If you hit and roll away, it's a draw for 4.
How much do you have of that?
Yeah, so you've got to be just 12. And if you get it right on the nose, that's okay. Give them 3. All right, give yourself a little bit of room and just a wiggle more. Just 12.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and you need to hook.
I think that was just talking them away from the big weight, trying to spill everything and making sure that you keep your shooter around and maybe get that little roll under like we were talking about.
Yeah. It's good. Good coach's interaction, making sure that you don't hit and roll away and give them 4.
You got it, Cass.
Still early, giving up a big end early it is disappointing, but you can claw your way back. Oh, it's close. On, off, on, off. Gotta get that thing to curl now.
Got up to the nose.
Oh,
no roll, but still.
That's it. That's a good shot.
Yeah, it makes that scoring area just the 4 foot, so you now have to be at least full 4 to get that 3rd point. And all things considered, I think that's a pretty good result.
That is, yeah. Pressure at that age.
You might give up 3 here, but that's really not the end of the world. It's a long game. These are 10-end finals.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get down 3 and you get your 2 back next end, you're right back in it. So, but yeah, giving up 4 or a big score is really demoralizing early on. 3 you can fight back from.
Earlier this week, Nova Scotia was down 4 against Northwest Territories and were able to claw themselves back and get the win. So yeah, it's still early.
Final shot of the first end coming from Jolien Fortin, looking for a good chunk of the 4 foot.
Get some curl there.
Just throwing like maybe backline weight, trying to curl it over to get to the inside of this yellow. It's got a curl.
Coming in nice. Nicely done. Nicely
and
done.
Just got past it just enough. That'll be 3 points for red on the board. Quebec will take a 3-0 lead to the second end. We'll be back with more action right after this.
When I think New Holland, the first word that would come to my mind, I would think success. I think without it, for me, the success isn't there.
Whenever you deal with somebody so long and they take care of you, you remember that.
New Holland builds products that will continue to evolve and make the farmer more efficient, that can produce food for the world.
Here's to those who ask how. Like Kevin, who asked Janine from Home Hardware how to build a place to work. Or not work. Or Siobhan, who took Josh's advice and created a front yard worthy of this TV commercial. Or Eric and Sasha, who asked Julie how to reimagine their backyard so they could be more outdoorsy. Complete your next project with helpful advice from thousands of store owners and team members across Canada. Home Hardware and Building Centers, here's how.
Nova Scotia 2 might be a little relieved to only be giving up 3 in that first end. A nice shot by Cassidy Blades. Forced a better one from Jolien Fortin. But regardless, 3 on the board for Quebec. And they will get us started in the second end by going right into the top of the 12-foot.
A little surprised that Nova Scotia, maybe they want to calm things down, but surprised that they didn't throw the corner guard. That rock was in the house. Could have hit it at any time, but try to set up and use that 5-rock rule to your advantage.
It does look like they stayed out of the house, though. So that,
yeah, it did work out for them from that standpoint. I will agree, but now you're still playing into the 4-foot area where you kind of want to play out to the wings if you could.
Nice draw here from Megan Fortin.
Beautiful weight.
Now Anna McNutt looking to follow her down.
Nice shot there.
So we're joined now by some special guests. We've been bringing in the athletes all week. Today we've got Mia Toner from Team Northern Ontario. And Mia and sister Justine are going to sit in with us for a couple ends and give us a little bit of insight what it's like to be a player in this event. So welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. The environment's been great. The crowd seems very lively tonight. And it's just very exciting to watch these teams play down. Lots of great shots being made already, and we're only in the second end.
So both of these teams are on the younger side. A lot of 16, 17-year-olds, where a lot of the teams in this field are 18, 19, and even 20-year-olds. Your team is also on the younger side, so you've probably played both of these guys a number of times, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've definitely played them a few times. That's for sure. What's kind of nice about this circuit is you get to play them in under 18s, and then you come to juniors and you play them again. And a lot of these teams are usually teams that if you keep going in curling, you will see around a lot and you get to know them, so it's kind of fun.
It's absolutely true. I know last year there was the U18s, the Canada Games, the U21s, and there were a lot of players that were at all three of those. And then as you get older, you start to include things like the U Sport or the collegiate games. And yeah, as the time goes on, you're going to see the same faces over and over and over again. So knowing what you know about these guys, what sort of game would you expect from them?
Yeah, I think both teams are very consistent all throughout their lineups. Like, everybody expects like shots being made early on in the ends, and both very good with weight control as well is something that I've noticed throughout the week and throughout the years that we've played them. I think these teams are going to get some rocks in play. Nova Scotia is definitely like the team that can make a comeback here. They're down 3, but I'm sure we could see some points on the board pretty soon because they can play aggressive when they need to. They picked up a nice 4 in their game earlier against Alberta this morning, and they can definitely generate the points when they need to. So.
No doubt. We were actually a little bit surprised that almost all of the games that we've called all week, that first end has been kind of uneventful. You throw one in the house, everybody hits it, and really not a whole lot of excitement brewing. But these guys went at it right away, and all of a sudden there was a pile of rocks in the house, and we weren't quite ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that has to do as well with like just the pressure of the situation. You're in the playoffs now. Everybody's eager to just get going. Maybe with their practice, Quebec felt aggressive, felt ready to go. So that's always something to take into consideration as well. But yeah, nice shots being made here as well.
Really nice short run back made by Megan LaFrance.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. She left those stones in a good spot too, where the double, like, you're definitely rolling. If you make it, there might be a jam, so it's not an easy shot.
Already this end seems to be going a little bit more Quebec's way, trying to play in the house, get Nova Scotia to be throwing those hits, keeping it clean.
Yeah, if Nova Scotia can get a nice roll behind their corner, that would be a really good shot. They need to stick around though.
This one's over curling a little bit. Will it stick around? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, the ice has been so great all week. It's very swingy though, so it really does make you pay for those like lighter weight or not enough ice or whatever the cause may be. Like you really got to throw it nice and positive on this ice.
We've definitely noticed that from up here too. We've seen a lot of takeouts over curling. If you're at all soft with the weight or sometimes on the release, the rotation, all of those things.
Yeah,
but we have seen a ton of rocks over curl. So talk about the ice. I mean, it's not your typical curling club ice. It's tons of swing. It's really fast. How did you guys make the adjustment, and explain a little bit of the difference from what it is on the arena side versus all the games you played on the curling club side?
Yeah, well, I've been hearing a lot of teams use a lot of times, like hog to hog, split, whatever that may be for the team. It's really just communication is very important to adjust to ice conditions. It's not just the skip's job to be watching for that. It's a full team thing. And I think when you can learn from certain shots, whether they're your stones or the opposition stones, you have a big advantage because when you can put the broom down, like it's completely different from the club ice to the arena. Like it's not always the same. Morning draws, night draws. Like the ice conditions have been great, but there's always things that like you'll pick up on different sheets as well. Like so just like learning to communicate the weight, and that's a very nice shot.
Yeah, nicely done by Stephanie Hatherton there, getting the roll.
Yeah.
Not quite totally buried, but it certainly has a chunk covered behind the guard.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So what kind of, like the times we've been getting, 15 and a half seconds, that
Yeah.
pretty typical
Yeah,
as a
that's
kind
great.
of a general rule across all week?
That's what you've been wanting, like arena ice, like 15-5, 15, like that's gliding nice, it's been sweepable, and nice shot.
Yeah, another nice shot.
And she'll roll out a little bit, but it's all right. She got it out of there.
Yeah, Quebec at this point more interested in making the yellows go away than keeping the reds around, but
Yeah, I mean, like it would have been nice to keep the shooter, but it is still pretty early. You don't want to, like, you just took 3. If you could force, that's really great. If you leave it with a blank, well, that's neutral. Like, that's probably fine. You keep the hammer in the even ends, but it's still very early in the game, so.
yeah, the blank at this point, I mean, it's too early to kind of rely on that as your game strategy, but it is one less end where they can chip away at your lead. So
Yeah, for sure.
as long as they're not scoring, you're happy.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
So just looking across the board, we've got 2 men's semifinals on right now. We've got our women's essentially quarterfinals, our qualification games. What do you think of the format, the pools and the top 3 advancing to the playoffs on each side?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tough to make that top 3 cutoff. Like, so these teams definitely earn their spots here. There's no doubt about that. You have to. It's a long week. You play 8 games. Well, there's big pools. Lots of games. You gotta stay sharp the entire week and really make every shot count. Just because the competition is so fierce, and there's a lot of great games out there. Some closer ones than others, but it really is whoever can stay the sharpest for the entirety of the week that usually comes out and wins these things. So.
And we did see in this B pool that the top 3 seeds all had the same records, and they'd all beat each other, so it did go to that last shot draw for ranking.
Yeah.
And in that case, it actually gave one team a bye to the semifinal based on their draws. So
Yeah.
that's another part of one of those things you have to do well all week.
And that's definitely a big advantage, just because these weeks are so long. Like, any rest you can get for your team, it is nice to have that extra game in your pocket to stay focused. But these weeks get long, and yeah, it goes to show how important LSD draws are, and how much of a difference it can make. It's like an entire game, and if you played this morning, then it becomes a 2-game day today, and then the next day that's another 2 games. It can get tiring, and you don't always like see it like physically, but mentally too. Like it's a challenge to stay sharp out there.
Yeah, I can totally relate. Especially you don't feel your body getting tired.
Yeah.
After 8 or 10 games, you're going to start to feel a little
Yes,
bag. But mentally, like you said, you got to be focused for it's intense, right? For
Yeah.
a few hours at a time. So the more you have to do that, you do start to get that mental fatigue.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, the sweepers are going to be sore. They're probably already really sore. But yeah, definitely a mental game as well. Just little things. Because at this level, you have to be on top of everything. Every little roll, every little line call. Like, thinking about how much weight you want to throw, like thinking about the tolerance for each shot. Like, those are all things that come into play. And yeah, communication. You want to make sure you're still speaking nicely to your teammates even when you're tired. Like,
speaking nicely. I know some teammates of my own who could take that memo, but Julien Fortin finds the back of the forefoot, and that'll force Cassidy Blades to take on the blank here.
Yep.
And we shall see. Don't want to jinx anything, but we have seen a few of these missed both ways, just the plain old flash and the bonk on the nose. So
Yeah.
you have to hit anything basically less than half of a rock here on either side, and you'll be made.
Yeah. Well, they're down 3, so she's definitely going to be trying hard for that blank. But if they do take 1, it's still early on in the game.
Looking for a piece. Oh, I jinxed it.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Those are tough to watch.
That's a steal on the board for Quebec. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Justine Toner after the break.
Nutrien Ag Solutions. Everything you need to win the season and go full seed ahead.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
And welcome back to the Suncor Community Leisure Center at McDonald Island Park in Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, Alberta. My name's Brian Chick, and in the booth right now, we've got special guest from Team Northern Ontario, Justine Toner. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So as a competitor in this event all week, what were your impressions of the competition, the venue, your experience?
This experience has been so valuable. Like, this event was put on so well. The volunteers did such a great job. The umpires were so good all week. The ice was fantastic, and the atmosphere out there on the arena ice especially was just fantastic. It was so nice to see all the people out there supporting and everyone cheering on, and it was just such a fun event.
Oh, you can definitely hear it right now, the cowbells and the horns and the hooting and the hollering.
Yeah.
How does that affect you as a player, especially when it's not necessarily directed at your game?
It's definitely something that you have to consider when you're coming to these national events. It's one of the distractions that I tend to consider and do my best to tune out, especially like if I'm in the middle of a throw or something like that. But honestly, at the end of the day, like, once you get used to playing on the arena ice, I didn't find I noticed it all that much, and I just kind of appreciated it, and just, even if it wasn't necessarily for me, it just kind of made the atmosphere that much more lively and fun, and it's fun to see and hear when people make nice shots and that kind of thing.
It definitely brings some energy into the room, that's for sure. You know, some curling clubs can be a little quiet, and you know, you might have your teammates yelling at you, but there's not a lot of other buzz usually. In an event like this, there's definitely a lot of buzz.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got Quebec off to an early lead after a score of 3 and a kind of a cheap little steal there on the missed peel.
Yeah.
What does Nova Scotia have to do to get back in this?
I think Nova Scotia has to go hard for 2 or more this end. I think they've got to put up their corners, get their rocks in good positions, and try to score here for sure, I think is important, and then go from there, see if they can get a steal once they score.
I would say you're probably right. It is still early on. These are 10-end games, and they do give you a little bit more opportunity to fight back from those early deficits. We have seen some, a 3-point lead is nothing, especially early in the game. You can definitely come back and get that one back. We saw that in our men's semifinal earlier today, that in the Manitoba versus Manitoba 2 game, popped a 3 right there in the 9th end to tie it, and came down to the last rock in the 10th. So getting down early, not the end of the world, but yeah, you do have to start making some plays to try to generate a crooked number, as they say. Kate Wiesent looking to make use of that corner guard, maybe to take a little hit and flop under, flop wide. And I would say that it's pretty well done. Rolled maybe a little bit too far, but it's still shot. We were talking with your sister about how young these teams are. There's a lot of 16, 17-year-olds on it, and this is a U21 event, so some of the teams are 19 and 20 years old. Do you notice that as a younger competitor?
Yeah, so as a younger competitor myself as well, I definitely see a lot of younger faces, and there's also definitely like an age gap with the people that are aging out this year that are a little bit older. I think the teams that are a bit older do definitely have a little bit more experience and just that kind of thing, but it's really nice to see that there's lots of young, such talented athletes here at this event as well.
And you've played in U18 events as well, correct?
Yes.
And how does that prepare you for something like this? Is there a big difference, or is it's a similar vibe?
It's definitely a similar vibe, but I do think it is a bit different. Like here, the competition is just, if you make any little mistake, these teams will make you pay for it. At U18s, it's definitely a very similar atmosphere, but here at this event, like, everything's been amazing, and there's just so much support and nice crowds and everything, and it's just such a well-run event.
So if you take everything off the ice, so forget the curling, what's been the best part of the week?
Best part of the week for me has probably been just hanging out in the Players Lounge and getting to meet all these different athletes that all have the same passion for curling, but are from so many different places throughout our country. It's just been super fun, made so many new friends and met so many new people, and who knows, maybe in the future they'll be potential teammates or we'll be playing against each other at several events and that kind of stuff, so it's just kind of fun to see.
Yeah, you'll probably see a lot of these same faces for many, many years to come, assuming that you stick with the game, because I'll tell you, I still run into people I played juniors with, and that was a long time ago.
I believe it.
What about this facility, the Suncor Community Leisure Center here? What doesn't it have, and have you been able to take advantage of some of the offerings?
Oh my God, that's the question. What doesn't it have? It's such an amazing facility. I really wish there was a sports complex like this everywhere, because they literally have everything from pickleball to swimming to the water park. That's definitely something that was on our little bucket list that we had kind of made. So if we have the time to go at some point tomorrow, we might be heading towards the water park and the water slides, because that's definitely something that we don't have in Sudbury, but that's super cool. And it's just so nice that they have all of these athletic services and facilities all at one place. It makes it really convenient, really fun, and just a great thing to have in this city.
I know some of the teams have already been to the water park, and some have been playing basketball and volleyball and using the fitness center, but the rest of this building is just incredible. It's got a library in it, it's got restaurants, it's got squash and tennis and a football field, and the outdoors it has a golf course and baseball parks. I said to somebody that if you had a young family in this neck of the woods, you'd be here every day for something or another, for your own workout or for your kids' hockey practice or something. It's an incredible facility here in Fort McMurray, and they've been absolutely lovely to the curlers and inviting them in. And like you said, the volunteers have been on the ball, and this has been an amazing event. So big shout out to the folks of Fort McMurray and Wood Buffalo for putting on another great event. And we're not even done yet. We got another day.
Exactly.
So back to the curling action. We're just chatting away here. Emile France looking for a long run back. She's close.
Very nice.
And sticks it. Thought they maybe just missed the line call there, but no, they held it on, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, now they've got one nice buried. When you can make those runs and stick them, that really makes a big difference in this game for sure.
Stephanie Atherton trying to play the come around and maybe play a little freeze on this top 8 rock. Just a little chap off, which is going to give Quebec the opportunity to get rid of it and maybe tuck another one in there. Were there any surprises for you this week about the experience as far as what you were expecting and what transpired?
Honestly, I came into this event pretty prepared. Like you had said earlier, the U18 Nationals experience definitely paid off and was very helpful. But honestly, one of the aspects I hadn't considered since both nationals I had been in my home province was just the tiredness after the day of flights and traveling and having to do groceries and everything, since you can't just bring all your food with you. You have to go buy everything from plastic spoons to plastic bowls to any type of snack that you'd want, and containers for fit then break snacks and that kind of thing. So that was definitely something you really have to think about for these events to prepare and be well fueled and ready to go.
Yeah, over the last few years anyway, these events haven't necessarily been in the biggest cities with the most direct flights. So last year for this win were Rouen-Noranda to Quebec, which
yes,
required either a long drive or a couple of connecting flights. And I know even for us to get here, we were in Fredericton for the mixed doubles. We had to fly from Fredericton, Toronto, Calgary, Fort McMurray, and that was, like I said, a really long day.
Yeah. Still managed to get that one out of there.
Yeah, touched the guard on the way by, but not enough to put it totally offline. Just a little rub, as you'll see on the replay here. Just scrapes it. They would have liked to have missed the guard and rolled under to sit 3 potentially, but they're happy that the yellow is no longer in that threatening position.
Exactly.
Cassidy Blades' turn to try to sink one in behind that guard. Look for a piece of the top 4 behind the one that's the red that's in the top 8. .14.1's probably a little hot.
Yeah. Especially once you've thrown a few in that spot there, you can expect it to be a little bit quicker.
Where do you put this one?
Right where she has her broom, back 4 is a pretty good spot, honestly. If you can get one there, the force is on, and honestly, that's really good for Quebec if they can force them to 1 and stop them from scoring a multiple here. So I think anywhere, even if they're back 8, second shot is definitely ideal for them. That way they can force them to 1.
Yeah, I would be hesitant to put it back 4 because that just gives some backing for Nova Scotia to use. So I don't mind back 8. You could go all the way right back to that yellow and sit there as long as your second shot.
Yeah.
The other option, freeze right on top of that red.
Yeah.
Sit 2 totally buried and make her draw the 4-foot against 2. How's your French?
Actually, I go to a full French high school, so I can understand what they're saying right now. They're trying to get it buried, that way she can't try to hit it.
You're the first person that's had a good answer to that question. My French is okay, but I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to speak it.
Yeah.
All there, all there.
Julien Fortin trying to put some pressure on Nova Scotia with a second rock. This thing's going sideways.
It's really curling.
Sneak it by, right to the backing.
Right to the back line. If it doesn't get...
Stays second shot. It does.
I think that does the trick.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the options we talked about. So, almost lost this on the line. If this, yeah, really close to going too far on the curl. This ice has been crazy swingy though, especially if you throw that softer weight.
Exactly. You can really make it move, especially with the brushes. We've seen it throughout the week. The teams that are really strong at sweeping have really been able to move those rocks. It's actually pretty impressive.
Last rock of the third end coming here. Cassidy Blades looking for a piece of the forefoot. After giving up a steal, they're looking to avoid another one. Line's fine, but is it going to stop? It does. So a point on the board for Nova Scotia 2 out of the Truro Curling Club. We'll be back with the fourth end after this quick break.
When I think New Holland, the first word that would come to my mind, I would think success. I think without it, for me, the success isn't there.
Whenever you deal with somebody so long and they take care of you, you remember that.
New Holland builds products that will continue to evolve and make the farmer more efficient, that can produce food for the world.
Hey, Canada, come on into Montana's, where weekdays have turned into deal days. Why not check out our half-price wings every Monday, $5 tacos on Tuesdays, all-you-can-eat ribs Wednesdays, and drink deals every day, only at Montana's.
Nova Scotia's Cassidy Blades puts a point on the board with a draw to the forefoot. Stops the bleeding anyway. It's 4-1 for Quebec, and they will have the hammer going into this fourth end.
Yep, getting started again. Quebec wraps one around, top 12, and looks like Team Nova Scotia 2 is trying to steal this end, putting up the double guns, 2 center guards. So we will probably see a lot of rocks in play this end.
The double guns, I love it. With me again is Mia Toner of Northern Ontario. Sudbury, correct?
Yeah, Sudbury.
Justine was saying that this is one of the first championships that she's had to travel any great distance for.
Yeah,
and
true.
that it was created a different experience from what she was used to. Did you find the same thing, or have you've had the opportunity to travel a bit, have you not?
Yeah, definitely. Well, for us, unfortunately, with the pandemic, we kind of got cut short a little bit. Initially, when we qualified for our first nationals in 2019, it was supposed to be in our hometown, but then it got canceled. So the next 2 years, both in Ontario. So we haven't really had to go very far. With that said, like, it is nice being able to just drive over, have your own vehicle, but it's always fun to take the plane and go somewhere far. Makes it really feel real that you're going.
Going way back when I played at my first junior national, it was in my hometown, and it's not as much fun as you think because you have all the support and you can have all the comforts of home, but I still had to go to high school in between games.
Oh no, yeah, I would not have liked that. Yeah, I don't think I would have, well, maybe I would have gone, but I don't think I would have liked going.
Anyway, as predicted, we got rocks in play. We've got our vertical center guards. We've got a couple of reds in the top of the house, and this could get a little bit messy.
Yeah, like especially with those two Quebec rocks being staggered, they're going to have to clean stuff up because right now it's looking like Nova Scotia will have a lot of rocks to come around. And with the stagger, it would be really hard for Quebec to run anything into the house if ever they do bury a few.
Yeah. Especially with those rocks in the top 12 and staggered. There's so much curl on this ice that those are acting just, those are guards too. So
yep, yeah.
You could easily get fully buried behind those.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Nice straight peel there from Megan LaFrance. Sorry. Two Megans on the Quebec team. I forgot which one I was talking about.
Yeah. And I think they're electing to...
Is this the same? Is this the same ice?
Put up another guard?
I think they're trying to go around
or come
it.
around? Yeah. I missed that call. But, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of rocks in front of the house right now. So if she can lock one behind, Quebec is still going to have to open it up a little bit, and they'll have the opportunity to then put up another guard or come around again.
Yeah, the way those staggers are all lined up, they're not all going easily. So it'll take a few shots to clean up that front mess.
Yeah.
Pretty nicely done. Not totally buried, but maybe a good half.
Yeah.
Once again, no hesitation from Joliane Fortin, just trying to rattle all those around and create some space and maybe improve the angles a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And she's thinking of maybe getting both of the yellows, but we'll see what she plays. The straight peel is fine. I think they changed the turn just in case they want to try to get both and maybe run it into the reds, which would be fine too, because that stagger really isn't helping them, even if the yellow does jam.
I think in a perfect world, you hit about half of this with the intern, and you might be able to get all three yellows going.
Yeah, that would be good.
She's close. Oh, just misses the third yellow, but better than it was for Quebec anyway.
Definitely.
Wanted to hit that just a hair thinner. And now game on for Nova Scotia. They've got some stuff to play with. I asked Justine this as well. What about have you been able to take part in any of the other facilities in this remarkable building? Have you, I know some teams have been playing volleyball or going to the gym or going to the water park or something. Done any of that stuff yet?
Yeah, well, unfortunately we haven't gotten the chance to really do that. It's been a busy week for sure. But we were thinking of maybe going to play pickleball or something at some point if we can tomorrow before we have to leave. But with all the curling, we've just been watching and playing. And
obviously it's the priority. That's why you're here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of the free time depends on when your bye happens to happen and whether it's an early game or if you have the right bye on the right day, you could have a whole day free. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we didn't really have a day off in our schedule, so Interesting. Good shot. Almost made the roll.
Yeah, got edge on edge, basically. It's tough to get under there. But.
Yeah.
We'll have a coach's interaction. We'll listen in to Coach Andrew Atherton.
We're in trouble here. We're risking the game at this point because we haven't been able to get one down. Yeah. I think this freeze out here, maybe you can snip, if she's a little perfect shot would be back 8 and just roll under.
I like
but let's just freeze and tell her she can bump it a bit. Give us something we can use, okay? Try to get inside it.
So the coaches' interactions, not exactly timeouts, but a chance to have a discussion. The clock keeps running, and both coaches are able to come and meet with their teams. How do you find that as a player? Do you find those valuable? Or are there too much of them, not enough of them? How do you like that?
Yeah, I like it. It's nice because with the interactions, they've given us 2 per half, so you can really use them to your choosing. Like, you can call them, the coach can call them, and it's just good for learning. If ever in the 5th end there's a situation where you're not 100% sure about, you can call the interaction and just talk about it just because you have 2 per half, so that's plenty to just be able to discuss and talk through situations that might appear later on. I just think it's a good opportunity for development, especially with these younger teams, just to really have some key takeaways for the game, even if it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, the feedback becomes a little more immediate. As I always found that, if you sit down with your notebook after the game and says, okay, remember this shot in the 2nd end or this shot in the 3rd end, you go, nope.
Yeah.
That was 2 hours ago, and we've thrown 100 rocks since then. So, but this way, the coach can really have their impact a little more.
Yeah, with the timeouts, you try to save them a little bit, more, but.
Yeah. So we just had Stephanie Atherton makes a nice little tap to the button, and the hit attempt flies a little wide and picks the red off the back from Emmy LaFrance. So all of a sudden, Nova Scotia looking to put some pressure back on Quebec and potentially sit 2 here. Totally could get this one in buried.
Yeah, if Nova Scotia can get a good one buried behind here, it's definitely going to be looking good for a steal if Quebec can't quite get it out with all those guards in play, but they might have to elect to play a double or something. We'll have to see.
Cassidy Blades looking for a draw basically to the top 4. Right over the New Holland tractor. We got to give our sponsors a shout out. Right over the other New Holland logo.
Weight looks good. They're curling it.
Pretty good. Still poking out maybe half, but no easy way to get at it. So they're going to try the double on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. Just.
So we'll draw this one up for you here. They're looking at coming in on that one, into that one. That'll go out that way. Shoot, the other yellow goes that way, and your red should sit right in there somewhere. Maybe roll out that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, it's definitely easier from up here than it is down there. But yeah, if they can try to keep their shooter there, it'd be nice just to block the draw path. But I think Nova Scotia's got them either way. They'll have a draw on both sides. So even if they do roll out, it's probably fine.
Yeah, I think the priority here is try to get that rock off the 4-foot.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you say, Nova Scotia will have both sides to put it right back and potentially make it even better. Oh, we're changing the call. Oh, maybe we're not.
Well, they don't really, seems like the skip likes this call better. Really wouldn't be good to wreck on the red top one if you're Quebec. Just because then you're throwing against a couple. And you may as well keep it clean. You're up 3. Even if you give up 1 here, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Bounce back with a deuce.
So, Jolienne Fortin with her first in the fourth, looking for maybe like a half a rock double here.
Yeah, for sure.
Keeping the shooter, probably not a priority, but I think it is possible if you do it just right.
Yeah, we'll see how much weight she throws at this. Close.
Yeah, just hair tight all the way down. I was surprised that they were calling for curl at any point, because from where I was sitting, I don't think she was quite out to the broom and missed it by literally that much. If it was, an inch or two wider, you might get the double and stick around.
Yeah, it's tough with those ones because the rock is going down so fast. You really feel rushed to make the call, but really close. She kept her shooter. Nova Scotia is going to have to make a nice draw here. And Quebec will then have to decide what they like to play.
A good draw here could really kind of change the complexion of this end.
Yeah, for sure.
If you sink one top 4 foot totally buried, now Quebec's going to be trying to hit full 4 against 2, and a steal is certainly possible.
And in these types of games, anything can happen. So you just really gotta stay sharp, which is one of the things that really the top teams will do well in these situations.
Line's a little on the wide side, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just walks right over.
Yeah, and she looks a little bit heavy. Bringing it back.
It's not a great spot for that one. It gives Jolienne some backing for the draw.
Just a foot or two too deep.
Would you ever be tempted to throw the double here on the other side?
I mean, I think this would be the call that our team would probably play the draw. But I could see why you could try to really seal the deal, but if ever you give up a steal of 2, you're letting them right back into the game. If you take the 1, you keep the 4-point gap. I feel like that's probably the safer call.
I think that's the right answer.
It being so early in the game. I mean, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. But
if the tables were turned and you're down 4, you might be taking that on for sure.
Yes, for sure.
If you're up 3 or 4, then you don't need the risk. This looks like it's tracking a little bit.
She might need to carve it.
I think the weight's going to save her here. Maybe not, actually.
Oh, darn. Oh.
Well, unforced error there. 2 on the board for Nova Scotia. That puts them right back in at 4-3 for Quebec. And we're going to take about a 5-minute break, and we'll be back with the second half. Thanks. Oh, that's only the 4th end. Getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. We'll be back in a break.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
A big unforced error there by Julien Fortin. Had the draw for one with backing and just got a little heavy and a little wide, sails through, and a steal of 2 on the board. And we see center guard goes up from Nova Scotia 2.
Quebec made that nice come around right after. Getting one nice top 4, pretty much buried.
I'm still hearing you. Anna McNutt looking to play the come around freeze on that top 4 foot. Looks a little heavy, maybe.
Looks like it's gliding in that spot there for sure.
Just wasn't grabbing the finish the same way.
That's pretty good, though. They've got the angle set up on it.
Not bad. So just looking across the other sheets, we'll do a quick update on the boys semifinals first. The Alberta and, oh, that's women, sir. Alberta men and Manitoba. Actually, we got Alberta and Manitoba on side-by-side sheets. One's from the women's draw, one's from the men's. In the men's, we've got Jace Freeman out of Manitoba and Whiff out of Alberta. Alberta's up 4-3, playing the 5th. And McIsaac out of Nova Scotia playing Dirksen from Saskatchewan. Nova Scotia up 5-2 on that game. So the winners of each of those will play for gold tomorrow. And in our women's games, they've got to get through another semifinal before they get to that gold medal match. And the other women's qualification game tied at 1, playing 5th. I'm Brian Chick, and I'm here now again with Justine Toner from Team Northern Ontario. Kate Wyson looking for a little hit and roll maybe off the Reds, but got that one started a bit and all over the guard.
Yeah, the sweepers were saying the weight was a little down too, and we've seen in that spot, especially on the arena ice, there's just so much curl that any weight that's just not quite enough, or if there's any inward motion, it just really goes and you have a really hard time holding that line.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that, just like you said, that inward motion, that little start on the release, or maybe a little soft on the release. And if you do that, good luck keeping it straight, because this ice is curling so much that if you're not positive and right to the broom, or leaving maybe a little out to it, it's way better to be a bit wide than a bit tight on this ice, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very much less forgiving if you're inside, that's for sure.
It's a pretty good spot for Quebec.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
I'm not saying it wasn't soft. I don't think it was that soft.
Do you like that?
Sorry, what?
Running the red back?
Okay. What? What's that gonna do? I mean, it's gonna get rid of something there. You just have to be inside.
Yeah, I kind of like draw.
I mean, I don't.
Nova Scotia's already used their 2 interactions in the first half, so no help available from the coach.
Yeah, you can see they were uncertain what to call here, whether this hit here with Peel or the draw even, but it looks like they've elected to play the takeout.
Running the red back into the pile, trying to rattle everything around. This is sailing a little bit wide, probably just playing the straight Peel now. just misses on the way by. And I feel like you might see that rock get put right back.
Yeah. Almost caught that red one on the way by in that replay.
So obviously, maybe not the week that that you were hoping for, but you won some games, you know, had some battles. What are you going to take away from this experience this week?
Yeah, lots of takeaways for sure this week. It is such a great week, and it's a long week for sure. So I think just takeaway-wise, just really learning the ice, knowing there's going to be different ice conditions, different things that are going to come up that are out of your control, and it's just really the team that's going to manage those distractions and everything the best, and is just going to come out on top and come out sharp every game, no matter what team you're playing against. That's going to come out on top at the end of the week here.
Is there anything obvious that you would do differently, or maybe take a different approach on?
Not really that I can think of, really. I think just overall, just coming out a bit sharper in some of those games, just doing everything you have to be prepared and ready to go. But
nice attempt by Stephanie Atherton there. Just needed to curl an inch more in it, but it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
However, those yellow stones are making life difficult for Quebec.
They are.
We've got a pretty full house here. The crowd is, the bleachers are almost entirely full. We got standing room across the back row, and
players filling
the hockey benches on the other side filled with players too. So this is a good environment and lots of eyeballs on the action.
For sure.
Quebec looking to get just inside this yellow, and they do. It's a lonely yellow rock in there now. There is a very makeable double right up the middle now.
Yeah.
Basically hit where the broom is, and both of those reds will shoot out the sides.
Yeah.
Stephanie Atherton looking to make the reds go. And that's really good.
Much better for sure.
That turned around pretty quickly in a couple of shots. Red was sitting a few, and the angles didn't look great, and all of a sudden, my, how the tables have turned.
Yellow has 3 in the house. Quebec electing to try this double here.
Emily LaFrance basically looking for like a nose hit, maybe just a little bit high a nose.
Yeah.
A little too high a nose. Rolls the shooter out. Saved your back one, but I don't think that's going to last very long.
No, I think they'll play this hit.
I'm good. Yeah, okay. Just hit yeah. Okay. Got it. Right up to it. Okay. Got it.
Suddenly seems quiet in here now that two games have gone to their 5th end break, so little less action for the moment. Cassidy Blades looking for just a nose hit, make the red go away. And executed to perfection.
Good sweep on that one.
racine, que ça frappe, ça jambe.
Sounds like they're going to try to play this roll off of this hit and try to roll in front of that yellow one that's sitting back 8 to see if they get a possible jam or something out of the next hit afterwards.
We haven't seen a ton of really well executed rolls because of the curl and how hard it is to kind of control that side to side. Not many people have been able to hit it in just the right spot.
Yeah,
so we'll see how Jolien does on this one. And that was just a little soft on the weight and maybe a little soft on the release, and over curls quite a bit.
Now Nova Scotia electing to put one top 8 probably here.
Yeah, you can't take everything away here. There's always going to be a draw on one side or the other, or an open hit, so just try to make it look harder.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like,
Put one probably top 8, top 4 near the center and say, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to draw? Are you going to try to absolutely perfect nose hit or little roll inside? So the last shot in the 5th. Cassidy Blades trying to make life difficult for Quebec. And I'd say that's pretty much perfect.
It's a pretty good spot. To play this hit with probably just a little roll in. Nose might get it.
You needed a little bit of a roll here, and this is essentially the same shot that Jolien just threw, so there's got to be a little bit of doubt in the back of your mind because the last one was so far off, so you need to make an adjustment, but not too much of an adjustment.
Exactly. You can't double cross yourself here. If they end up taking a little more ice, but throw more weight and throw it better, then you can see how you can miss wide on this one as well. So this one's, if she executes this well, it'll be good.
Jolien Fortin shooting against 4, needs a hit and a roll. He's got the hit and the roll, but will it sit? Maybe. No, just that little finish too far, but 1 point on the board for Nova Scotia. That'll make it a tie game, and we've got a lot more action to come. This time we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will meet you on the other side for the rest of this game. Thank you to the Toner sisters for joining us, and we'll have Jeff back in the booth right after this.
When I think New Holland, the first word that would come to my mind, I would think success. I think without it, for me, the success isn't there.
Whenever you deal with somebody so long and they take care of you, you remember that.
New Holland builds products that will continue to evolve and make the farmer more efficient, that can produce food for the world.
Ag Solutions. Everything you need to win the season and go full seat ahead.
Hey, Canada, come on into Montana's, where weekdays have turned into deal days. Why not check out our half-price wings every Monday, $5 tacos on Tuesdays, all-you-can-eat ribs Wednesdays, and drink deals every day, only at Montana's.
Here's to those who ask how. Like Kevin, who asked Janine from Home Hardware how to build a place to work. Or not work. Or Siobhan, who took Josh's advice and created a front yard worthy of this TV commercial. Or Eric and Sasha, who asked Julie how to reimagine their backyard so they could be more outdoorsy. Complete your next project with helpful advice from thousands of store owners and team members across Canada. Home Hardware and Building Centers. Here's how.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Welcome back to the Suncor Community Leisure Center at McDonald Island Park. My name's Brian Chick, and with me is Jeff Reich, and we are tuned in for what suddenly has become a exciting game here. It was a blowout off the start, and Nova Scotia has chipped away and fought their way back in.
Absolutely. Just watching their composure, they knew that they weren't out of it. They still had lots of ends to go, and they're battling back.
So we've got a tie game, 4-4. At one point it was 4-0, and like I said, they battled back, and now it seems that Nova Scotia's got the momentum, but Quebec has the hammer. Almost just a little bit of bad luck on Jolienne's last rock. She hit it and rolled and just got that extra grab and finish.
Right, yeah.
That took it would have been close either way, but that little finish probably obviously made it too close, or not close enough to measure, but I think had it stopped at one point, it was going to be really close. It just got that bad little grab at the end that pulled it away. So a point for Nova Scotia, tie game, and 5 ends left to play.
Probably the 5th end break was a great opportunity for their coach to sit Quebec down and just calm them down. They looked a little rattled after that steal of 2 in 4.
Yeah, of all of the ends, the one you want back, it was probably that one. It was a very makeable shot. Just got a little bit heavy and a little wide on the draw attempt, and that's that kind of miss can stick with you for a little while. You have to learn to shake it and move on. As we said off the top, this is essentially a quarterfinal matchup. The winner will take on Ontario's Julia Markle. And in the other women's quarter or qualifier, whatever you want to call it, the Alberta team that's skipped by Grace Beaudry just popped 4 on Manitoba's Hayward. And that winner will play Nova Scotia's Allie McNutt.
I was watching that game, and just Manitoba just got their last stone just a little outside and gave Alberta a free draw for 4. But there's been some really high caliber curling all week, but especially now that you're getting into pressure finals.
We just saw an inadvertent tick shot, which, because that rock was touching the center line, it gets replaced and the shooter comes off. Still not a fan of that rule in that situation. I understand why the no tick rule exists, but I don't think if you're trying to play a draw and you just happen to rub it on the way by, but then you're trying to police intent, and
Right.
that's the hard thing to do. So
Absolutely.
it's an all or nothing, but I feel like there needs to be some sort of wiggle room in the middle.
Yeah, it makes sense. Certainly gives Nova Scotia a real good chance here to bury another one, but she looks a little wide and heavy here.
Yeah, this one's tracking on her, and probably going to chisel off the pile.
Yeah. Well, at least it set it up with a better angle onto that back one there for Nova Scotia, but
that
not
was-
the shot they wanted.
No, that was tons of weight. If that hadn't ticked, it would have been nearly hack weight. As it stands, it's still sitting on the back line. So Quebec changing strategy here a little bit. No longer trying to play those come arounds and taps and freezes. They're just going to get those guards out of the way and try to simplify things maybe.
Yeah. And maybe that was what the coach's intent was during the fifth end break, is try to get that, simplify it, make some easier shots and get back into the game.
Yeah.
Not that they're out of the game, but get back in from a head perspective.
Yeah, exactly. If you throw a bunch of open hits and open peels, and sometimes it takes one half shot to miss, and all of a sudden then you can put two on the board pretty easily. So trying to simplify while Nova Scotia is still trying to complicate a bit.
Yeah.
They're going to play the 6-inch run back and try to keep both yellows around.
That would be perfect if they could, but they're going to roll just a little too far.
Shooter leaves. I don't think that back one's in, so
I would agree with you, Brian.
I have been wrong before, and these camera angles don't always give us the best look, but from there's a lot of daylight, and I imagine that the back one's not in. So Quebec just going to hit the open one.
Unless a mysterious 2 comes out of this, I think Quebec's going to be happy blanking it and taking hammer to the next end. And Nova Scotia, unfortunately, with that hit and roll out, could have really forced Quebec possibly to 1 by the end of the end.
Stranger things have happened, though. We have seen a lot of these hits over curl and miss, and somebody overthrows it a little bit, misses on the high side.
A lot of skips deuces out there.
Yeah, a lot of skips deuces and a lot of junior deuces that were not completed because somebody missed an open hit or something like that. So too early to say, but it looks like this is going to be a much simpler end.
Yeah. Nova Scotia does the nose hit there. They could have gone to the wide side, or they could have tried to play right in front of that rock that's just, we believe, is outside of the rings. That could have potentially left a jam opportunity.
Yeah, I think you'll just see a bunch of open hits for now, and Joliane Fortin is probably going to have a chance at a blank on her last one, provided...
Oh, that one's going pretty quick.
Yeah, and they've spoken too soon.
That's going
hard for a piece. And just slips by. So, like I said, these open hits aren't automatic.
Yeah. Well, that's an opportunity or an option. The other option is to play out to the wings and just try to, like I said, make that force and make Quebec take one.
This essentially does the same thing. They either have to make a double or a perfect freeze, and it's still going to put the pressure on the other guys. It does seem like this is sliding. They're calling T, which is not what they want.
Well, they are going to tick off their yellow.
Calling for a little hit and roll here.
Yeah, because it's going to be it would be very difficult for them to make that double without rolling out.
Yeah, it's almost just the angle of those two is you can clip one and kind of stuff the other, but you're still going to be spinning out sideways. Nice soft weight here. On and off and all the way down is usually a good sign, and I'd say that's pretty good.
That is a very good shot.
Nicely managed. I like the weight on that, where it wasn't a big bullet, and it was just that nice control weight where you can kind of manipulate it a little bit with the brushes.
Yeah, 100% on that one for sure.
And this one is difficult to remove without spilling the backing. Not impossible, but I think what you see sometimes is people try to reach back for that little extra mustard, and the line suffers as a result. But Cassie Blades looking to take on this takeout.
So you really got to decide whether you're picking that stone or just hitting it on the nose, making the double.
And I'd say that's the pick.
Yep.
Move the backing, lose the shooter, and all of a sudden, not much in play to use anymore. But they will use what they've got.
That's where I would be going if it's the sixth end, even ends, and if you can put the perfect freeze down there.
Freeze the back. Hey, put down.
Yeah, no harm in this. There's really...
The only harm would be if you came up as a guard.
And then they make the freeze, but...
Yeah.
Julien Fortin looking for the freeze in the back 12, just trying to somehow generate a second point. Needs to curl. It's trying to work its way over. Weight looks pretty good. That's
Weight was perfect.
Really decent attempt.
Yeah.
Would have loved 4 more inches of curl, but the weight was absolutely perfect. Well, you can certainly remove this. It's not a gimme. You have to keep it on the right side, the broom side of the nose.
Yeah. Well, Cassidy wants to nose this, as she's mentioned.
I would lose all of the backing and make it a fairly routine blank.
But based on what we've seen the last couple times by Quebec, that these aren't gimme hits either. If she can force them into that. Looking good.
Roughly to the nose. Little roll and too far.
Rolled out too far. Yep. Blank on the board.
Well, not yet, but I assume that's what we're going to see.
Well, yeah. If it was me.
We did see one yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. It's all getting a bit blurry now, but it wasn't quite this obvious a blank, but they opted to take the point instead of blanking, just to get rid of the hammer. They were kind of in a similar situation where it's getting away from them. It's like, no, I'm going to take the point, switch everything up, and just kind of change up the routine here. Anyway, it is a blank on the board, not surprisingly. We got a 4-4 tie. We'll see the 7th end after this short break.
Nutrien Ag Solutions. Everything you need to win the season and go full seat ahead.
And we're back. We're back at the Suncor Community Leisure Center in Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, Alberta. I'm Brian Chick here with Jeff Reich. And like we said, what started as a bit of a blowout on one end has turned into a tie game, and things are getting a little tighter towards the end of this game.
Yeah. See who can keep their composure for the next 4 ends.
These are 10-end games. We're playing the 7th, and Quebec holds the hammer at this point. You see a center guard go up from Nova Scotia, Quebec, and Megan Fortin makes the come around pretty well. And Anna McNutt, sorry, sister Allie is waiting for the winner of one of these quarterfinals. Anna McNutt looking for the come around freeze. Nova Scotia well represented in these playoffs.
Absolutely. 2
of the 6 women's teams are Nova Scotia, and one of the remaining men's team, Callum McIsaac, is also hanging in, currently leading Saskatchewan 6-3, so they are looking to punch a ticket in the final.
2 great stones by the lead there from Nova Scotia. Got it around that guard.
Great sweep there by the Quebec front end.
And just see how much it just curls over there.
Didn't think that was going to get by the guard, but they held it.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit on the outside or the inside?
Still in action. We've got a boys Alberta and a girls Alberta, and a boys Manitoba and a girls Manitoba, and a Saskatchewan and Ontario still in the mix. A lot, Quebec, a few Nova Scotias. We've got a nice variety remaining
Absolutely.
in the playoffs here.
That's good to see.
In our men's quarterfinals, we also had a Newfoundland and Labrador team, and we also had another Manitoba. So a good cross section of the country represented in these U21 playoffs.
Oh, that's a very fine shot.
Nicely done by Kate Weissent. Want to thank all of the young curlers that have popped into our broadcast booth over the course of the week. We've had 6 or 8 occasions where some of the curlers who have been playing all week decided to try their chops at the broadcasting, and we just recently had Mia and Justine Toner, and they were great. And most of the people who've been up here have given some really interesting insight to what it's like to be these athletes and what their experience in Fort McMurray has been like all week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, they were switching off. I was chatting with the other one just outside the booth.
Got a little mess brewing here in the forefoot. It's too quick to say who's got the benefit of the angles, but at a glance, I think those yellows are looking better than the reds.
Yeah, I would agree.
I want to thank everybody who's turned in on Curling Canada Plus all week too. We've had 2 games coming from from this facility. Also at the same time, we've had Wheelchair Nationals, which wrapped up today. Saskatchewan is your Wheelchair National champion. Put those games on Curling Canada Plus, and thanks for your viewership and your subscriptions. We've got one more day of action, and that'll wrap it up for our live streams this season.
Trying to get rid of some red rocks in front of the tee line there. Well, make sure you get closer to, as close to nose as possible.
A little wider than they would have liked on that contact, keeping that red spinner around. They wanted to get a little bit more of that rock and a little thicker, and that would have spun out the side easily.
Yeah. Well, we're thanking people. We might as well thank the volunteers.
Absolutely. We've had a tremendous army of volunteers, and this event has been run spectacularly. And just the turnout of the number of people who have volunteered their time as timers, as ushers, or security people, or officials, all the people who
ice makers.
Ice makers, for sure. There's been, I haven't heard one person even gripe about one facet of the ice. It's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's hard to do. I've watched a million curling events. Somebody always has something to say, but I haven't heard a single one.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah, the committee here has been absolutely tremendous, and all of the volunteers, all the staff, ice makers, and like we keep saying, this facility is just so impressive, and it seems like they're really happy to have the event here, and we're all happy to be here taking part.
Yeah, for those that didn't know, we did this event in 2013, which was a lot of fun as well. Nova Scotia's got to be a little careful. They've got to get something set up here that they don't give up a big end after clawing their way back in. Sorry,
yeah.
Little tongue-tied there.
That'll happen. You can only talk for so long before your mouth gives up on you. Yeah, you see Quebec with a lot of red hanging around just around the edges.
If you could ever come down to that nose of that red rock and tap that yellow rock back, which is back line to hack weight.
That's what I'd be calling.
You'd be sitting there pretty good, because that red rock that you see there would kind of slide over in front of that yellow rock on the center line.
Yeah, you can either try to just nose it, or I think with hack weight, you could probably get a little inside the nose and get the roll under.
Yeah, you want to carry a little bit, hopefully get some momentum carrying them sideways.
Looks like it's what they're taking on. Just see what kind of weight they throw.
I think they said hack to bump.
That's not enough ice for that, so I think it's probably closer to control, where just judging by where the broom is. Gotta squeak it by the guard, but no dice.
Well, I think they threw the weight that they called, but you're right. I don't think they just had enough ice on that.
Yeah, that was definitely probably a bumper weight, and just based on where the broom was, that wasn't going to be enough. So a little bullet dodge there for Nova Scotia too, but not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to leave this too high.
This goes back to what we were speaking about earlier. Just throwing guards is difficult.
Although that is going to look like a beautiful guard.
That one does the trick, but
you still could get that with that. If they threw the same weight that they just threw, I think you could actually get around there and tap back.
I think you could, but you don't really need to yet.
True.
You got a couple more rocks to come, and they're just going to make Nova Scotia throw that guard again. And like we said, because it is difficult, trying to gauge that curl perfectly, they're going to see if they can get a mistake out of Nova Scotia here and try to create an opportunity.
If you could just ever corner freeze on that red rock there. Slight on the center line side.
That's what they're thinking. We're going to have an interaction here. Coach Andrew Atherton come out to join the party.
She hits it on the nose, and we have one lonely rock. What do you like about freezing on yours? Right back here. Dead frozen. You're trying to make sure these two things don't score back here is where we are right now. Yeah, I mean, and if you would have clipped the 4 on the way by, you know what, it's a little, and it's more about moving the 4 straight sideways. No, but it's a line option.
Okay. So she is tight.
Yeah, you're just trying to absolutely freeze, no space in here, and then you're going to freeze again with your last one.
Coach talks him into a freeze, try to maybe just rattle that right around at the top of the forefoot. But if you ever get one near the button or frozen to that back yellow, his point was that you just are doing anything you can to not let those back reds score.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, but if we guard again and you come in, I don't know.
Looking at a freeze right in the pocket on the button.
It's going to...
Over curling maybe just a little bit, and the weight's not quite there. However,
that's not a bad shot.
Not bad. It does the job of kind of eliminating the usefulness of those back reds.
Yep.
Quebec will maybe have a chance to score too, but it won't be any more than that.
She might get, she could hit that rock and get 2 yellows out and roll over. And it's going to make one lonely Yellowstone in there.
You could. Just is it worth it? And I'm not saying it's not. I'd be chewing on this one a bit myself.
Because if you tried to go to the back one to freeze, then you're just leaving Nova Scotia a chance to freeze to it as well.
Yeah, so the one they're looking at here, we'll draw it up. They're throwing the red ones. They want to come down, maybe hit. Oh, that's a big arrow. I'm going to start that one over. Hit that on that side. That will go into there. Yellow goes that way. Red parks there. That goes that way. And your shooter kind of comes over here into that. No, I'm still on arrows. There.
There you go. Yeah.
And it could be there, but that one is always going to stay, and you're going to have to deal with it later on.
Oh, absolutely.
The other option would be to draw trying to get one. You don't want to be anywhere in here where they might have a double on those.
Yep.
And you don't necessarily want to be back here because then yellow can come down and put one right on top of you.
Absolutely.
So there's not a ton of great draw options, I don't think. So maybe you take on the hit.
There's not a lot of risk to this.
Sinon, tu rentres puis tu donnes quelque chose. Alors, m'en fous si tu fais droit, on va essayer puis on va vivre avec. Mais si on frappe cette barre-là de cette pierre-là, le rouge là, ça cogne, ça peut peut-être se rouler par-dessus là, puis nous autres,
All those that speak French at home, they got a better handle on what the coach is talking about with their team.
We need Justine Toner back here. She went to French high school, so she was translating for us.
Yeah.
I think, you know, once you talk it out enough, that you think there's not a good spot to put a draw. And if you can ever make that hit we drew up, get rid of 2 yellows and roll wide, you might have a shot for a handful later on.
Yeah, because yellow's going to have to deal with that red rock that's just going to be, at the end of the day, biting the forefoot, or the button.
They've opted.
But, yeah, it looks like they're doing for a draw.
Look, probably right to the top of the button.
Yeah. Well, she definitely got it out there.
Julianne Fortin looking for a chunk of the button, maybe. Starting to work its way over. Maybe a little on the heavy side, though.
Yeah. Well, might work out.
Oh, 1-2. No doubles, but a big pocket.
Certainly gives Nova Scotia an out.
I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around where a good spot to put that red was, and this was one of the options. But you're always going to give them the opportunity to freeze your way out of it. So you're hoping for a miss, which doesn't always come at once you start playing at a certain level. That's not a great strategy.
Yeah, agreed.
Granted, I know that's probably not exactly where they meant to put it, but having put it there, there is this threat. So Cassidy Blades trying to lock one on the button to take away Quebec's chances to score.
Well, she's got good line start. Just a matter of where the weight is. Looks like it's got some heat to it.
And this is a little heavy and not catching the curl. And that's going to sail right by. And I think Julianne Fortin just took a big sigh of relief, saying, okay, finally, we're going to have some easy points on the board. So she's got her 2. She just threw it. Chance for 3. After a frustrating couple of ends and just not quite getting anything going, she's going to be happy with this result. Final rock of the 7th end, looking for full forefoot or anything better.
Well, she's got good line. Weight's up, though, it looks like.
Starting to curl. I think she'll get up to the backing.
Yeah.
Coming right up to the backing. Might get a little bounce.
I think that'll work.
Will it roll?
Oh.
Too far. It does. Still looks like 2, though, so Quebec will take a 2-point lead into the 8th. We'll be back with more right after this.
When I think New Holland, the first word that would come to my mind, I would think success. I think without it, for me, the success isn't there.
Whenever you deal with somebody so long and they take care of you, you remember that.
New Holland builds products that will continue to evolve and make the farmer more efficient, that can produce food for the world.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Hey, Canada, come on into Montana's, where weekdays have turned into deal days. Why not check out our half-price wings every Monday, $5 tacos on Tuesdays, all-you-can-eat ribs Wednesdays, and drink deals every day, only at Montana's.
Two points on the board for Quebec, and they have regained the lead. 6-4, playing the 8th end here. Nova Scotia 2 will have the hammer. I'm Brian Chick here with Jeff Reich at the New Holland U21 Canadian Championships from Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, Alberta. This one's been a little roller coaster, back and forth. A big lead by Quebec, a big comeback by Nova Scotia, and then kind of just a missed opportunity. That could have been 3 on the board for Quebec, but it turns into 2. However, I'm pretty sure they're happy to be back out front.
Yeah, probably settled some nerves there by getting that 2. For those that missed it, Quebec went in with their first stone to the top of the button, and Nova Scotia elected to hit, and unfortunately they rolled out.
Yeah, you will see teams sometimes, if that first draw to the top of the button is too good, then they say, well, we don't want to leave that there for a few more shots, because once they get it guarded, we'll never get at it. So this one, because it's off to the side, a little bit behind the tee line, they're not nearly as worried about it as that perfect top button rock.
Well, makes sense. Would have been nice to probably stick around, though.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked to, but it was not to be. So now we'll see Quebec throwing that guard. Top 8, top 12, try to be across that center line.
Nice to see a good crowd out here tonight down at McDonald Island Park.
Yeah, the bleachers on the sheet E side are basically full, and then the players bench on the other side, which is would normally where the hockey teams sit, full of all of the athletes from the eliminated teams, are all having a good time, banging on the boards, causing a ruckus, but that's what we like. It creates the atmosphere at this sort of event.
Yeah, lots of people up in the VIP lounge as well. So, good to see.
Saw some of the players.
Trying to hit and stick around, but just unfortunately a little too little of the rock and rolled out.
Quebec switching right into full defense mode. No rocks in play if they can help it. Get rid of the guards, and that makes it very difficult to generate a multiple score.
Nicely done. Corner guard will go back up again. Hoping for a miss.
Even 18. You got it.
Not a strategy that I would generally teach, but sometimes it's one you have to employ.
No, you're not hoping. You're obviously hoping for the miss, but it's not always guaranteed for sure. Especially at this caliber. Maybe at the club level, but.
Yeah, usually if you're patient enough, not a lot of club teams are going to come shoot 100% at you. So If you wait long enough, you'll get that miss. And then, but like you said, at this level, you're going to get a lot more makes than misses.
In this situation, you can either peel or you can hit and roll over to somewhere else in the rings.
Amy LaFrance looking for a little hit and roll.
I thought she was going to try to get it the other way, across the face.
A little caught in between there. I think they would have liked to roll on towards the center line, but once you weren't going to get that, you don't want to leave the guard there. It's just something for Nova Scotia to play with if they can get the hit and roll under.
Well, they're playing the hit and roll. One could also think about drawing behind. I know it's a red rock in front that they could run back, but they could easily, just not hit it at the right angle.
Yeah, we haven't seen a ton of perfect hit and rolls.
Yeah,
and we have seen a ton of really good draws.
Yeah. It's just so hard to anticipate. And you've got to roll such a long way in this situation.
Amy LaFrance looking for. This is not a lot of weight.
No, I think she got her going again. They've really been missing this spot, but she's got it.
Great sweep there to keep it around. And he saved the shooter, so really just a little soft on the weight, I think. I don't know that she missed the broom too much, but you could tell out of her hand that it was moving a little more slowly than they wanted. But great sweep there from the Quebec front end to keep that, to make contact and actually kept the shooter. Stephanie Atherton now trying to use that corner guard. They're by it. It needs to dig in.
Deploy the parachute.
It stops just in time, but a little wall of granite building up back there. Whoever can put their rock in the right spot.
Yeah.
Okay, come around. Take some shit on my hair. You got it.
And we have a final on sheet A. Alberta, skipped by Grace Beaudry, will take down Manitoba and will move on to the semifinals tomorrow. They will face Nova Scotia's Allie McNutt. That's Manitoba, skipped by Hayward. And their week will come to an end.
Just going to chip the guard.
Julien Fortin just rubs the guard, spills on, but it looks like the one at the back is still going to be the counter.
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
But not, it's not by much.
Not
though.
by, yeah, just.
If we can trust that overhead.
Yeah, and sometimes
just the angles. That's.
Sometimes they're not hung exactly over the center. I know how hard the crew tries to get it just right, but no matter where it is, there's always something that the angles look a little less than reliable. But based on that, I'm guessing it's yellow.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think 15-3. Yeah. Okay, you got it, Cass.
Cassidy Blades looking to draw to the far side of the rings, open up that junior deuce possibility. And if it's made, Julien Fortin is going to have a choice. Do you hit it or maybe just try to play the tap on your own? How gutsy are you feeling?
Yeah.
They have to go for weight here, and they're not going to get much separation.
We're able to drag it quite a bit. There's still possibility for a hit and roll.
Yeah.
It is a big one, though.
If you even get a little too low, there's a possibility to roll all the way over to those 2 in the back, and if you ever nudge that yellow, you could be sitting 3.
Absolutely.
Not, you don't really ever want to call that, but it could be your audible.
It's the pro side miss.
Absolutely. Priority number 1, make that yellow disappear. Ideally, stick around.
For sure.
So with her last shot of the 8th.
Oh, that's really warping.
Julianne Fortin.
She did not get that out there.
Oh, just rolls it by. And frustration is showing. So now could be a shot for 3.
They're just checking to make sure.
We've seen that intern side from I think I'd say it affected the Quebec team a little more often, but they've had that 4-foot line or just outside that 4-foot line intern hit over curl on
most 4 or 5 shots.
A few of them, yeah.
And get your 2, and then yeah. Okay, you got it, Cass.
So last rock of the 8th with a chance potentially to go up 7-6. Needs a bite of the 8-foot, and then we'll see if we're right about that measure.
Careful, careful.
Good news is she's got backing now.
No, you're fine. You're just bouncing off it.
Beautiful shot.
And got a piece of that. Okay, so 2 for sure, and we may see a measure. We may not. And they're just going to give it to him. It's 3 on the board. Nova Scotia takes the lead. We'll be back with the 9th end right after this quick break.
Here's to those who ask how. Like Kevin, who asked Janine from Home Hardware how to build a place to work. Or not work. Or Siobhan, who took Josh's advice and created a front yard worthy of this TV commercial. Or Eric and Sasha, who asked Julie how to reimagine their backyard so they could be more outdoorsy. Complete your next project with helpful advice from thousands of store owners and team members across Canada. Home Hardware and Building Centers, here's how.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Well, I think if you told Cassidy Blades that they'd be up 1 playing the 9th end after the 2nd end when they were down 4-0, they'd be pretty happy to hear that.
For sure.
Great show of patience and just stick around long enough and take advantage of some breaks. And Nova Scotia has erased a 4-point deficit and now leads going into the 9th.
Yeah, 4 6 feet last. You got enough.
You're watching the new Holland Canadian U21 Championships from Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo. My name's Brian Chick. We're here with Jeff Wright. And we are in for an exciting finish.
Absolutely. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
With the new Holland. Just even.
Cassie Blades giving the sponsor a shout out. Thank you, New Holland, for your support of this event and for your logos to use as landmarks on this sheet of ice. Nice center guard put up by Anna McNutt right on the center line, about halfway. Megan Fortin.
Very nice distance around that guard to be dead buried.
Yeah. Nice draw there by Fortin. Totally buried. And as we were saying, you can't get too close to those guards because if she'd done that, if she was near the guard, she would have come out the other side and be totally wide open. So you have to give yourself some space to get by those.
Like 15-2, 15-3. You got it, Katie. Okay, go 15, and we'll see.
All you. Top 4. It's okay, all you. Top 14.
It's looking really good.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier. She's just a little quiet, but you can tell she wasn't mic'd up or batteries.
Oh, very nicely done.
Don't sweat it.
Good job by the sweepers there.
Yeah, that's a great spot and just shows you how much swing is in this ice if you can be fully buried behind a rock in the 8-foot.
Yeah. Which is fantastic.
It's like an 18, 17, 5. You got the Katie.
Doesn't feel like a lot.
Who's in? I don't know. Who's in?
Kate Wiesent looking to replace that center guard. Calling a 2, roughly halfway. Has to finish though.
Should come over quite a bit there at the last. Yeah, look at that. That's a beautiful guard.
Yeah.
Well judged.
Another guard coming, another guard peeled.
Yeah. Rinse and repeat.
I imagine we'll see it maybe a couple more times.
Just don't want to set up something straight back. That's a good shot too.
Didn't want to necessarily freeze it, but the fact that they staggered it and that angle does not line up on the back yellow, they're okay with. We'll have an interaction here from Coach Brandon LaFrance, who almost injures himself. Glad he got his feet under him.
Puis l'autre va partir. Puis après ça. Hein? Ça va rester, tu vas frapper, tu vas rouler par là, puis ton autre va rester là. Alors, tu frappes sur le nez, ou un petit peu vers cette barre-là. Hein? Un petit peu par là, oui. Non, tu as frappé, rouler par là.
Oui, mais ça allait dessus.
Ouais, mais pas, je veux pas te clipper, je veux le nez. Juste off nose.
Le contrôle, ça sort. Je sais pas, j'ai compris.
Ben, ça va pas sortir.
Contrôle la roucheur.
Ça va pas sortir. Tu veux frapper juste off nose.
Contrôle?
Contrôle, même normal. Okay? Comme tu veux.
Well, your French doesn't have to be perfect to understand. Frappe just off nose and roulé. So you're going to hear a control weight just on the right side of the yellow as we're looking at it on the broom side. I think they're talking that you can rub the red on the way by.
Yeah, if you can get both of them moving to the right there.
Yeah, and just spill that red. Keep your shooter. You could be sitting 2-3 and open up that yellow on the button a bit. I'd stay real close to this one.
Yeah. Hey, you want to go for sure.
I wanted to hit quite a bit less of that one.
Yeah.
That was not just off nose, that was across the nose and on the wrong side.
Do you hate guarding like a little bit further on this side? Like, can I just have a touch more ice? No, I'm fine with that turn.
I just think they're really moving their rock.
Yeah, and you want to guard the red more than anything.
Yeah.
Felt down, you're inside. On the line.
Stephanie Atherton looking to put another guard back there.
Middle, halfway. Just two. Whoa! Just halfway,
Not too bad.
Not bad. I think there is room to get to that button. I think that's the harder version of it. I'd be playing the in-turn draw.
Pourquoi?
Pourquoi? I know that one too. She says, why?
Yeah, I'd be inclined to play this shot versus trying to play that red rock.
There's certainly enough room to get there, and you can even bounce it a little bit. Not that you have to, but if you can move it out of the 4-foot, you might have a chance to get a second one in there.
Okay, gotta be on the button.
Got a little tight on that one.
Yeah, I
it
think
looks
so.
like.
That's gone already. Didn't get out to the broom with the intern.
Curl, Meg. Curl, Meg. Curl, keep it moving.
Now you want to make sure that you leave that
Go, Meg.
red rock accessible
Make it move. Go.
if you need to.
Yeah, trying to get it out of the way, and I think you can still get there. But yeah, that did not get out to the broom and did not have the necessary weight. So it looked almost like it fudged out of her hand, but the line I don't think was there anyway.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Okay, so like 15.
Good opportunity to put the pressure on Beck.
Like 15.
They can get this to the top of the 4.
Yeah, a good shot here could almost put this on ice. Not to say that it's over, but it would really make life difficult. Both of our men's games are now into the 10th end. The Alberta team of Keenan Whip up 7-4 on
Freeman.
Jace Freeman, sorry. I knew it was
all right.
Jace. I just couldn't think of his last name. Thank you for that. And Callum McIsaac.
He's up 7-5.
Up 7-5, yep.
Saskatchewan
And we'll have Hammer playing the 10th on Saskatchewan's Dirksen. Great shot there from not Sophie. First time I screwed it up there.
There you go.
Cassidy Blades.
Way to wait till the 9th.
Yeah. It just means I'm getting tired. I'm forgetting everything now.
Back.
That still gives Quebec an opportunity to get there.
There's some room, but Cassidy may be overcurled by 6 inches and left a bit of a path here for Jolien Fortin.
Still not a bad shot though, but yeah, they could have been a little bit farther covering the center line.
Line's pretty good, I think, but it's got a little extra weight.
So weight's coming down though. Got to be careful.
It's working its way over.
Oh, nicely done.
Really nice shot there. That could be a game saver.
Yeah. Now Cassidy's just trying to shrink that scoring area. I'm sure they would be happy just to give Quebec one here.
They would end up tied with the Hammer, but 16 rocks to come. Anything could happen in that case.
That is very true.
Especially with the no-tick rule, the 5-rock free guard zone, there's plenty of opportunity to get shrapnel in the way and gets your end set up. And it only takes one good shot to steal. One of my absolute favorite cliches.
It's looking really good.
Definitely going to be in the way. And not leaving a whole lot of room to score that second point.
Yeah, there's a spot there, but you got to be very close to it's unbelievable, but you got to be very close to those Reds corner guards.
Yeah, you got to almost just miss the tightest red guard and throw the exact right weight and let it just walk right over sideways. So 1 point on the board already for Quebec, trying to make the miracle draw to the side of the pin.
Au pire, on part avec un, on essaie de voler le 10.
Got a chance here if they can sneak it by this guard.
It's just going to overcurl. It's a good effort, though.
Really good attempt. 1 point on the board for Quebec. We've got a tie game. Join us after the break for the exciting finish.
When I think New Holland, the first word that would come to my mind, I would think success. I think without it, for me, the success isn't there.
Whenever you deal with somebody so long and they take care of you, you remember that.
New Holland Holland builds products that will continue to evolve and make the farmer more efficient, that can produce food for the world.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
We've got a tie game entering the 10th end. A berth in the women's semifinal on the line. Nova Scotia 2, Cassidy Blades will have the hammer, and Jolien Fortin out of Kanagami, Quebec will be trying to play spoiler and steal. In for an exciting finish here.
That was an exciting game for all those folks that are watching at home or where they are.
Thank you once again for tuning in here on Curling Canada Plus, and thanks for your subscription. We've got a few more games left to offer before the end of the week, but then we will shut down for the summer and hibernate. Our men's event is almost set as far as who's going to get into the final, but we've got a few more rocks to come in the neighboring sheets.
Doesn't look over.
We'll tell you as soon as that is official.
Yep.
And so far, Quebec's got their steel set up with the two perfect center line vertical guards, both touching center, can't be moved. And Nova Scotia throwing draws, which at this stage of the game, if you're Quebec, you're happy about that. You're going to have some granite to play with and some rocks to move around and manipulate. And if you can get one locked on and buried, that could be your chance.
Just top four. Top button, just top four.
Well, it's not a bad shot. Shrinks that scoring area, or gives an opportunity to that Quebec has to get that out of there somewhere.
And that roar is for Keenan Whip out of the Glencoe Club in Calgary. They have won the semifinal and will play for gold tomorrow. Their opponent remains to be seen. We've got a few more shots to come on the sheet on the other side of our feature, but Alberta will be playing in that gold medal final. Manitoba's Jace Freeman will be in the bronze medal game, and we'll figure out their opponents in just a few minutes.
Quebec just a little heavy on that draw attempt.
Yeah, and those draws, it's just better to be light. You can be anywhere from a foot light to 20 feet light, and just gets enough of it. But yeah, if you're light there, at least you can bump it in later. You can do something with it. But if you're throwing it through the house, then there's nothing useful coming from that. So
no, that's unfortunate.
There's definitely a pro side miss, and that was not it.
I don't know, there was some body English on my part on that last one. I just
wasn't sure
wanted to see if she was going to get that top guard, but she did.
Yeah, as we said before, sometimes when you're trying to throw that little extra weight and you get that stabby release, and it's a little too stabby, and just got away with it there. Clipped enough of that guard to get it out of the way.
Nice shot.
Nice freeze there. That's not going anywhere yet.
Although those 2 stones placed by Anna, or starting the end off with Anna McNutt, they're absolutely great shots.
Yeah, welded, well, frozen now, but they were...
It's going to take a couple of shots to get those out of there.
Okay, Weissent looking for the same peel. This one is also running a little bit, but...
might be able to get her. Yep.
Just gets enough again.
Yeah.
Another guard go up here. They've got to protect that one in the house, and we'll have to make a move on it eventually, but not quite yet.
Well, another final.
Yeah, we got handshakes on sheet D. So Nova Scotia's Callum McIsaac will play for gold. That game will be 11 a.m. local time tomorrow. Saskatchewan will face Manitoba for bronze.
Got the guard. Good sweeping by the front end to get it across the hog line.
Cassidy Lade's calling for the peel from Stephanie Atherton, this time coming out the other way. This is Stephanie's out turn as a lefty.
Nicely done.
The winner of this game will play Ontario's Julia Markle tomorrow morning. That's a 9 a.m. game local. Alberta's Grace Beaudry will play Nova Scotia's Allie McNutt in the other semi, also at 9 a.m. So the winners of those games will play off in the afternoon for the gold medal. So I think it's about time, and as much as you don't want to group all these reds together, you have to start making some separation on those.
Yeah, you got to release that back yellow one for sure on this stone.
You're looking for back 12 weight. Try to basically nose the red and just try to create a little pocket back there.
This is all curling a little too much.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, off me. Okay.
Didn't quite have the weight, and thus the line was also out of whack.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I would be making that call.
Just hit the top red.
Yeah, I would be hitting the top red myself.
Yeah, I think if you run the risk of making it for them.
Exactly.
If you ever just clip that yellow on the way by and release it, and maybe somehow that red sticks around, you could make it worse on yourself. So.
There's nothing wrong with really peeling this one out.
No, and right now that middle yellow is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So if he did save it, it takes him 2 shots to move it.
Exactly. And you've only got 2 rocks to come, so that's a good shot.
Yeah. So you will see Julien Fortin take her own crack at the red-yellow-yellow combo from that broom, probably throwing at least board control weight. Maybe trying to lose the backing, weld the red onto the yellow, and roll a little bit wide, so you might have a saver out there later on.
Absolutely.
Julien's first rock of the 10th end.
Got that a little tight.
Yeah, this is curling already. You got to make contact with something here. Oh, better than it was. Yeah. You know what? You're sitting
true.
second and third.
Yeah.
you may, at least now you have a shot to sit for points anyway, regardless of what happens here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Both teams have plenty of time for their last couple of shots.
Absolutely.
Quebec has 3 more minutes to play with, and Nova Scotia almost 6. And that's just thinking time. So with 1 rock to come, that will be more than enough.
Not a concern at all.
Yeah. Nice and smooth. Right up. You got it, Cass.
Cassie Blades looking where they hit, and this one did not look like she got out to the broom.
No, you really got to go hard. She's going to have a piece of it. Not too bad. Actually.
Not bad. Now. I think the way
Quebec's going to play the double, I think.
It looks like it. I think the way Cassie throws those is a little bit deceiving, because she slides tight and really gets them out on the release. But
Absolutely.
When she let that go, I didn't think it had a chance. But definitely set it out towards the broom and got a really good result out of it.
No. You got this.
Although this turn has been plaguing them. We'll have to see if she can get out to the broom.
Looking for essentially a nose hit. Looked pretty positive.
She's really curling again.
You need to spill that second yellow out, and it is not going to happen. Point on the board for
Great game,
Nova
ladies.
Scotia 2. Cassidy Blades will move on to the semifinals. We'll see you tomorrow for the medal rounds. Thanks for joining us here on Curling Canada Plus. Have a good night and tune in tomorrow.
Have a good night, everyone.